Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to roll out a wall fast and easy like a painting pro in this interior wall painting tips and tricks video series. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you some cut-in tips and tricks after you roll on the first coat. New to the channel, my name's Paul and I've been a drywall and painting contractor for over 20 years. If you're looking to step up your drywall, texturing, and painting game, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also the bell notification to get alerted whenever I post a new video. Let's get into this video. All right, so first off, I always roll out of a 5-gallon bucket, not a paint tray. Those things bend and your paint doesn't go on evenly if you use those. While I'm pouring the paint, I'm gonna go ahead and put some paint in the cut pot so I don't have to do that later. I am gonna roll first before I do the cut in on this first coat. Now what you want to do is you want to tap the bucket before you release it and then kind of just give it a little twist. That way the paint's not dripping on the drop cloth or floor. Then take your damp paintbrush and just barely wipe the edge of the bucket. You don't want to pile paint up on your brush. You want to keep it nice and tight and clean as possible. I'll leave links to other videos in the description below where I show you how to keep your brush clean and much more. I'm using a 5-gallon bucket roller grid, a 3/4 inch lambskin roller cover, and also a 4-foot roller extension pole and a 2-foot roller extension pole for going up high on the ladder or around furniture. All right, so I'm gonna load up the roller pretty good and do a M, because what that does is spreads the paint out so you can go through it and cover the wall evenly with paint instead of just starting out heavy and working it out across the wall. This kind of places the paint where you can roll it consistently as you go. Again, I'm getting a good amount of paint on the roller and from the grid. Again, there's an N. Doesn't have to be an M. It can be a W, N. You get the point. So I'm applying, medium pressure. I'm putting a little more pressure on the right side to keep the roller lines at a minimum. I will be going over the whole area once I've got paint on it before I move on to the next section. All right, so I try and get close with the roller around all the outlets and light switches, but sometimes I do leave the plates on, say, phone jacks or cable boxes, depending on the setup, if there's a bunch of wiring or something. For me, it's just easier to cut in around them than to mess with a bunch of wires. Once I have the wall section coated with paint, I go over it one more time to give it a nice even finish and eliminate any roller marks or anything like that, and just to fill it real good so the second coat just goes on like butter. I go from the base all the way to the ceiling. I try to get as close as possible, but you definitely don't want to touch the ceiling with your roller or the baseboard. Let me know in the comments if you roll first or cut in first on your first coat. Okay, just like on the first section, I'm going to get a good amount of paint from the bucket and use the roller grid. And then I'm going to do my, I guess it's a backwards end this time, and go through the paint and get that even finish again, get as close to the ceiling. I don't know if you saw that, but there are some little nail holes and stuff I filled. I am going to have a video of the best way to fill nail holes and wall anchors coming up. As you can see, it can be an S. Anything in the alphabet works. Just spreading the paint out even. Then I'm going to drop back and go from the baseboard to the ceiling just to even the finish out even more. try and apply the same amount of pressure as you go, and you want to do the long strokes from the ceiling to the baseboard. More pressure on the right side of the roller eliminates roller marks. You know what those look like. They're the lines that go vertically as your roller leaves them. This 3/4 inch lambskin nap really does some good coverage. You just got to be sure to roll it out nice and even, and it leaves a beautiful finish. I did get a lot of questions in my last video where I posed a question: do you roll or cut in first on your first coat? Traditionally, everybody cuts in first, then rolls. That's just how everyone's taught. But in situations, a lot of times for me, I can just get going with rolling out rooms, and the cut-in people can be behind me cutting in. I can probably roll out 3 rooms, and I'm ahead of the cut people. And on the first cut-in, it really doesn't matter. But I always cut in the second coat first and then roll it out. Let me know in the comments if you're a DIYer, a contractor, painter, handyman. Just kind of curious. Another thing I wanted to mention to all the DIYers out there is always use an extension paint pole. If you just try and paint with the roller handle, you just don't have the leverage that you need to get a nice finish. So always use an extension pole for you DIYers. And yes, you can cut in the corners with the paint roller. That's what I did on this corner, and it works just fine. You don't have to brush it in. You can just push the paint in the corner and it works perfectly. Okay, here's where I switch over to the shorter extension pole. It's the 24 inch, and it's just easier than trying to swing that big, long, heavier extension pole around when you're up on the ladder. So you just roll it out, kind of feather it into the area you just rolled before you got on the ladder.
First coated.
All right, I'm going to show you the walls after the first coat before I cut in, but keep watching because I've got some cut-in tips and tricks coming up. So I wanted to show you after I roll out the first coat. We have not cut in yet. There's nothing wrong with going ahead and getting your first coat of roller on the wall, and then the cut-in person can come back behind me and cut this in. I like to do it this way because it saves time, because everybody's not guessing where you can get with the roller and where you can't. So this is how we do it. You can get pretty tight with the roller. This is all with just the roller. This is an orange peel texture on the walls. I'm using a 3/4 inch nap. Could use a 1/2 inch or a 3/8, but I like the 3/4. Had a couple little repairs here, puts another stempel back on those. Had a repair from the doorknob over here. Again, that's just rolled out, has not been cut in for the first coat yet. You're not going to want to miss those cut-in tips and tricks coming up. 3-inch purdy, straight brush, dab and tap method. Dab in the paint, you don't want to put too much on. Just tap it, keep a good amount of paint on the brush. Okay, I'm going to stroke this out and leave a bead at the top. That gets worked in. Let me know in the comments whether you roll first or cut in first and why.
Back the opposite direction, but keeping your brush the same, and it fills perfectly.
Let me know in the comments what your favorite brush is for cutting in. And if you want to step up your drywall, texturing, or painting game, be sure to hit that round icon in the middle of the screen now to keep up with all my latest videos. If you've got a friend that's a contractor or DIYer, be sure to share this video with them on Facebook or Twitter. Thanks so much for watching. There's more of my most popular video links down below in the description.